70 feet up there in the air. This church cost $200,000 to construct in 1889. It does still seat a congregation of 600. No tours today, folks. Come back tomorrow. That's what it looks like. But this church and the two hotels you're going to see shortly, built by architectural firm out of New York from Hastings, 1889 to 1888. Anybody that does want to hop off and look around? Well, there's no cars to the left, you go left or right here. We sit here for just a moment and check out that beautiful building over there to our left. As you can see, it is now Flagler College, but in 1888 was Henry's first grand hotel he built here in St. Augustine. He called it the Hotel Pulse de Leon. When it first opened, it had over 450 rooms there. You're going to see it from a few sides, and I'll tell you much more about it as we travel out of here after I get rid of this jacket here so we can all enjoy this lovely day together. So as you might imagine, Henry Flagler was very well connected. He was so wealthy. One of his friends was Thomas Edison. That's right. So when we leave here, after this car passes by on our left, we're all going to turn left. You'll see a very tall chimney in front of you that I'm going to tell you about. You can also
today. But it is the law. So if you have something and it's alcoholic, you gotta have it. Just keep your cap. Every time I ring the bell, say ding ding. You can hop off, pop the top off, take a swig, pop the top back on, and hop back on board the trolley. We call it the loophole. On your right is the police department. Between the winery, distillery, and the Flagler College dormitories. Over to your left, those three buildings with the pretty blue diamonds on them. Those are the college dormitories. They were set up by Mr. Henry Flagler because he was having so much trouble getting people to come to his hotel. Now, the Florida East Coast Railway was a big business that Mr. Henry Flagler had set up. He was having a lot of trouble getting people to come visit the hotels because it was an uncomfortable and bumpy ride. You had to hop, skip, and jump all the way through Florida to get to his hotels. So he bought up a railway from the Florida Georgia line down to St. Augustine. Then he made this street, today referred to as King Street, once referred to as Main Street, the very first paved road in St. Augustine. As you travel down here, on either side of the road, we had two orange groves. On your right would be the Yamaha, on your left would be the Parkland. Neither one is there, because in 1895, St. Augustine had two freezes. After that, there were no more orange groves above the New Smyrna line. Orange, you glad I didn't make an orange joke? I can't resist at least one. Gotta squeeze one in here. What, you didn't find that joke appealing? Now here's the thing. Mr. Henry Flagler extended the railway up to New York. New York to St. Augustine was a very smooth trip. One person, Mr. Rockefeller, told Mr. Henry Flagler that his winter residence was in Ormond Beach. He suggested pushing the railway just a bit further south. So he pushed it down to the Florida Keys. New York to the Florida Keys was covered by the railway. Mr. Henry Flagler basically conquered the entire East Coast. On your left is the Parkland Estate, set up by Dr. Andrew Anderson the First. He was one of the orange groves. That building was set up by him and he died before it was completed. His wife and his young son took very good care of the orange groves until there were two freezes. That made them go to mulberry bushes and silkworms, still bringing tons of revenue to town. To the right is the Villas Arena. So we're jumping back to before Mr. Henry Flagler had built the Ponce de Leon. The Villas Arena was completed by Franklin Smith in 1883. As he built his home, Henry Flagler was paying attention. He goes to him as he completes. He says, "Hey, would you build my hotels?" Franklin Smith said, "No. I'm really busy right now, I can't do that. But I will show your construction crew how to make poured concrete." And from then on, they were BFFs, best friends forever, secret handshake, writing letters to each other in a secret language, braiding each other's hair, combing each other's mustaches, smoking cigars together, drinking Cosmos on the weekends. They had sleepovers and everything. On your left is the Ponce, on your right is the Alcazar, and in front of us is the Casa Monica. Mr. Henry Flagler and Franklin Smith were really good friends. As the Ponce de Leon was constructed, Mr. Henry Flagler began to brag about his wonderful hotels. The Alcazar was doing stupendous. He wasn't exactly shy. So as he began to brag to Franklin Smith, Mr. Franklin Smith got increasingly more jealous. So he goes to Henry Flagler one day and he says, "Would you mind if I give you some friendly competition?" Henry Flagler looked Franklin Smith dead in the eyes and said, "Do not go into competition with me. I destroy you." Dun, dun, dun. That was their friendship in flames. Franklin Smith ignored the warning completely, and he penned out a check for $5 million to build the Casablanca. Along the way, he made several mistakes. For one, telling his building competition. Number two, following through despite the very pointed warning. And number three was when he ordered all of his furniture to be delivered by the only railway in town, owned by Henry Flagler. The furniture never arrived. The Casa Monica opened, and the Casa Monica closed, and then the Casa Monica had to be sold at auction for $325,000 to Mr. Henry Flagler. They say after that all the furniture arrived. I think they call that being railroaded. Getting to the railway. Railroad. Stop number 14 is the Cathedral Basilica, the Catholic Church, the end of St. George Street, and our beach bus stop. The beach bus is here at 4:30. That's the last one. If you'd like to exit here, please do so on the right-hand side. Very cautiously backwards. Stand up.
Dynamo generators. They were friends, but Thomas Edison brought his company down here to New York. They installed the dynamo generators at the pond when it was under construction, making it one of the first all-electric hotels in the United States. That's right, Henry was so well connected that the Ponce de Leon hotel folks had electricity before the White House. Yep, absolutely true. Now, 5 presidents stayed at the park. The last one, Lyndon Johnson. Because in 1867, the hotel closed and reopened a year later. Had a 2-year-old female college. Then in 1972, it went co-ed 4 years, and that's what it is today. About 3,000 students get in here every year. You've already seen some of them. You'll see many more students walking around as the day goes along. And folks, if you're curious, the tuition here is about $40K per year. So we are going to make a right-hand turn here. Once we straighten out the old 72-foot long trolley, I'll ask you to look at that portion of the building over there about 1 o'clock. That was the grand ballroom, the grand dining room of the Ponce. That's where Henry held court and entertained all his wealthy guests. Those windows to your right, you see as we pass by, those are original Tiffany stained glass windows. They are so valuable today. They're insured over $130 million. And they need to be. You want to know why? Because that's now the student cafeteria. No food fights permitted, right? And ladies and gentlemen, where did you go to college? Well, I'll tell you where I went. My hometown is Charleston, South Carolina. I went to a little military college there called the Citadel. Before I went in the Air Force, flew airplanes for 27 years. Had a little ROTC scholarship there. But we were in the military college, folks. We were lucky if we ever got to look out windows at all, much less $130 million original Tiffany stained glass windows. Pretty nice place to go to college. Only the freshman students live in the old Ponce. All these windows you'll see, the single windows are all freshman dorm rooms. Now stop kids to the left, we'll be there after stop 9. But that hotel there to your left was also built in 1888. We called it the Hotel Alcazar. Why? Right across the street from the Ponce. Because the Ponce was a luxury hotel for the top 1%, the wealthiest of the wealthy. The Alcazar, a little less expensive, that's what Henry wanted. And he wanted to have the air to even at the Ponce. But first, folks, we're pulling into stop number 9. This is the Rated Museum, built in 1883. By a man named Franklin Smith, he built this for his family, and he used a unique form of construction for those days. You see these lines that run around the building right here to your right? Those were molds. They poured a cocaine and concrete mix in there, let it cure for 3 days, moved the molds up to be the process until voila, there's your family's home. Fireproof, long-lasting, durable. Yep, since 1883, that means it's hurricane-proof too. Look at these posters to your right. That's what you can see inside the museum. Now, if you got a cat at home that you love, don't cringe when I tell you this. Inside, there's a 2,400-year-old rug that's made of cat hair that's very well preserved. The Egyptians made it because they worship cats, and it's on display inside. At this moment, we are going to come to a stop here. We don't ring the bell here because it's a museum. You can hop off the left or right. I'm just going to say ding, ding, and I'm sure you that say the move. Ding, ding. And the reason we don't ring the bell, folks, is because inside they give you a little handheld device. You hold it up to your ear. You travel around the station or all over the hotel. Press the button, listen to
The marina's a great place to visit. Lots and lots of
La Marina, the Marina. Ese es el dock, the name is dock, los muelles. Ay, lo estoy tapando con el vaso. Donde están los barcos, los yates.
The ones at night happen to be rated R. R, baby. I know. It's a terrible pirate joke. Most pirate jokes have a bit more of a hook to them. On your left across the bay is Anastasia Island. Look at the lighthouse. It's so pretty. The lighthouse is not our first one. It is our second one. The first one was too close to the edge of the island. It was built on top of coquina. It was crumbling into the ocean, and the Confederate soldiers decided to push it in because they didn't want the Union soldiers to use it to their advantage. This one was built 20 years later. It is much taller than the first one. It is 150 to 160 feet tall, depending on the hour of the day. If you take a look at that lighthouse today, you'll find that it is quite haunting. There are 2 or 3 different ghosts in there, and because we in St. Augustine are full of ghosts, we are 459 years old, there was a nice little guy he visited with a TV show called Ghost Hunters. And they said it's super duper haunted. I've been up that lovely lighthouse, 219 steps up and 219 steps down. Totally confirming, 219 steps up. Just no more than 2 steps down. I'm pretty sure I hit the other ones as I was rolling. I just didn't keep count. And I didn't break any bones, so my mom called it a character building experience. Which explains a few things. Stop number 16 is the Gonzalez Alvarez House, the oldest house in St. Augustine. It's a Surf Culture History Museum, St. Augustine History Museum, a Marine Land History Museum, and a tour of the Gonzalez Alvarez every half hour. Hi guys, that split row is my wheelchair equipped seat. If someone comes on board and needs the wheelchair lift, at that time I'd have to get you guys to move to a different row or vacate the trolley. Headquarters for the Florida National Guard. To the right, the big sign here says it's the headquarters for the Florida National Guard, so that I don't forget. There are 2 cannons over here. There are more all throughout St. Augustine. Every cannon in St. Augustine that is painted black was found here in St. Augustine, either the bay, the marina, the middle of our city, somewhere they once defended the locals, meaning I get questions about them. My favorite question I've ever received is, could you use the cannons today? I didn't really know the answer to that question, so I had to ask the folks over at the headquarters. I said, could you use the cannons today? They said, no. So I said, why not? And they said that was a very suspicious question. And then they wrote down my name. I'm on a list. I asked them to send me a letter in the mail, but I still haven't gotten it yet. I thought Christmas time would be perfect. Wrap it up in some red tape, send it over with a bow. It'd be perfect. I guess I'm still stuck in the red tape. On your right, as you pass our marina. Remember, if you go to one of these tours, you must check in with your municipality. You can't just hop on board a random ship and go, hey, I'm coming aboard. Called piracy. The good thing is that at least here in St. Augustine, we provide you with your very own lovely eye patch. Problem is you have to keep on wearing it. Otherwise, you get terrible tan lines, so you gotta just swap sides every once in a while. They called me Patchy for a long time. That's not so bad. Ding ding Patchy. Although Ding Ding Summer just has a better ring to it.
Señores, está que se me apaga el celular. Yo creo que en unos minutos hasta aquí llega este video, pero suscríbanse. Igual ahorita voy a cargar a comer algo, my lunch, y pues seguimos con el contenido para the people from Albion.
The ones on the other side are only made out of granite. We don't take any of them for granted. We love them all. And I'm not lying about that. We take a lot of pride in our bridge. It's the main. To keep our conversations and cell phone conversations to a minimum, please.
Cybertruck for Tesla.
So that everybody gets to hear and enjoy the tour. Our Castillo de San Marcos on your right is made from coquina. That's a very durable material. It's a teeny tiny prehistoric shell which fossilizes over time. When you plaster the Castillo de San Marcos over, indeed, it actually becomes almost indestructible. Too much water and it'll fall apart. But if you fire a cannonball at it, nothing happens. They chose the colors of the battle flag, which waves over top of the building today. It's kind of hanging limply right now, but I'll describe that it is a large white field with a jagged red X through the middle of it. It's supposed to resemble like the stem of a rose, a thorny rose, or something like that. That's what it looks like to me. Briar bush? No way. So the Castillo de San Marcos is plastered in the colors white and red, hoping that it would stand out against the horizon and everybody would know that they were in the Spanish territory. It worked out great. Except for the fact that if you fire a cannonball at the Castillo, nothing happens. And yes, sincerely, people would aim at the Castillo just because there was an Xbox of it. If you hit the Castillo, nothing happens. It'll either bounce off or embed itself in the side of the Castillo. Simple and easy to pop it out. That's what the Spaniards did. They popped the cannonballs out of the hole and used them in their own bombardment the next day. They called it Yippee! Hooray! Woohoo! Do you guys don't like recycling? That's what I'm hearing. Our stop number 18 over here. This is the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum. This was constructed in 1887 for Mr. William Warden. William Warden had 15 children, 15, not 50, and he wanted each of his kids to feel comfortable coming to visit. So he built a 27-room house with 15 children. They're very upset. Hi, thank you. Where are we? Who's seeing it? Nobody's seeing it? Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Okay.
Cannonball.
Yep. If you didn't see it, remember, we are going to pass it one more time. Don't worry, we're almost there. So, the cannonball is not really necessarily fake. It's a real cannonball that has been embedded there since the 1800s. As we turn off of this road, if you continue to look down the street that we were pulling off of, you're seeing a pink house down there with 3 posts that are sticking out in front of it. That is a perfect example of the Spanish house. The Spanish house, quite petite. The reason they started out quite petite is because you didn't need very much more than a room to lay your head down in. After a while, you might build a house with a few more rooms onto it. Maybe you had some children and you need the kids to have a separate room.